We are obsessed with power. We study the generals who move armies. We analyze the billionaires who move markets. We chart the rise and fall of empires, measuring their strength in steel, in gold, and in land. This is heart power. It is tangible, it is forceful, it is loud. But what if the greatest power isn't hard at all? What if it's soft? What if the most enduring empires are not built on coercion, but on consensus? Not on force, but on fascination? Welcome to Hindsight Lore. Here, we decode the timeless strategies hidden within humanity's oldest stories. We believe the past is a blueprint, and that ancient myths are not escapes from reality, but profound commentaries on it. Today, we are not looking at a king, a warrior, or a god of thunder. We are looking at a spider. His name is Anansi, the great trickster god from West African lore. While this channel has explored tricksters who use psychology to survive like Brer Rabbit, Anansi plays an entirely different game. His greatest feat was not winning a single battle. It was executing a single, audacious transaction. He went to Nyame, the omnipotent sky god, and bought all the stories in the world. This myth is perhaps the most brilliant metaphor ever conceived for the ultimate form of human influence, soft power. Anansi teaches us a lesson for the modern age. You do not need to be the strongest in the room. You do not need the most resources. You simply need to control the narrative. But this is not just a metaphor. It is a how-to guide. How exactly does one buy a story? And what is the I am possible price the sky god demands for the keys to reality itself? In the beginning, all stories belong to Nyame, the sky god. He held them in a golden box, a monopoly on narrative, culture, and wisdom. And Anansi, the spider, small and seemingly insignificant, decided he wanted them. He spun a single thread to the heavens and presented his offer to the sky god. I wish to buy your stories. The court of Nyame erupted in laughter. A spider buying the divine narrative? Nyame, amused and perhaps arrogant, decided to set a price so absurd, so impossible, that it would silence this upstart forever. The price, Nyame declared, is 4 things. Bring me Onini the python, who can swallow a man whole. Bring me Osibo the leopard, whose teeth are like spears. Bring me the Moboro hornets, whose sting is liquid fire. And finally, bring me Moborodia the fairy, the spirit of the forest whom no man has ever seen. Let alone captured. The court laughed again. This was not a price. It was a death sentence. This scenario is not just a myth. It is the classic barrier to entry. Think of Nyame as the ultimate market incumbent. He is the established monopoly, the IBM, the Microsoft, the Goliath. He defines the market. He is the market. Anansi is the disruptive startup, the garage innovator, the David. The price Nyame sets is the impossible list of requirements the established power demands, designed to make entry fatal. You want to compete with us? Fine. You just need a $1 billion supply chain, a global distribution network, a 50-year patent portfolio, and the loyalty of every customer on Earth. From Nyame's perspective, the wager is flawless. He has defined the problem capturing the 4 creatures in terms of his own strength: force, terror, and scale. He expects Anansi to fail, because Anansi cannot compete on those terms. This is the first and most critical mistake that heart power always makes. Nyame defined the what, but he forgot to define the how. He was arrogant. He assumed the challenge could only be met with more power, more force. He completely overlooked the power of strategy. He failed to see that Anansi was not playing his game. Anansi was about to invent a new one. Anansi returned to Earth, not with an army, but with a plan. He held no weapons. He had only his intellect, his understanding of psychology, and a single powerful tool, a quiet, authoritative voice. He had no strength, he had no army, he had only his mind. So how does a spider, armed with nothing but words, capture a python, a leopard, a swarm of hornets, and an invisible spirit, he doesn't hunt them, he gets them to surrender. Anansi's strategy is a masterclass in asymmetric warfare. He never attacks his targets directly. Instead, he identifies the core psychological flaw of each opponent and crafts a narrative that exploits it. He is not a hunter, he is a psychologist. Anansi's first target is Onini, the python. Brute force is useless. So, Anansi approaches the python's lair, not with a spear, but with a debate. He walks past the python, muttering to himself, loud enough to be heard. He's arguing with his wife, Aso. He's longer, Anansi says. No, he says, switching his voice. He's not. He's shorter. Longer. Shorter. The python, annoyed, finally speaks. What are you arguing about? Anansi stops, feigning surprise. Oh, forgive me. Great, Onini. My wife Aso is foolish. I keep telling her you are the longest creature in the jungle, even longer than this palm branch. But she insists you are shorter. It is a silly argument, really. The python's ego is now engaged. His reputation is at stake. Silly indeed, Onini hisses. Bring the branch, I will show you. Anansi lays the branch on the ground. To measure properly, Anansi suggests, you must be perfectly straight. Let me tie you to the branch at the head, the tail, and the middle, just to be sure. Onini, obsessed with proving his length, agrees. He stretches out. Anansi binds him tightly with his web. You fool, Anansi whispers. You are caught. This is narrative framing and ego baiting. Anansi did not try to win the existing fight. Anansi versus Python. That was Nyame's frame. Instead, he created a new contest. The python's reputation versus a palm branch. By reframing the debate, Anansi shifted the battlefield from one of strength to one of ego. Onini was so focused on winning the argument that he did not realize he was losing the war. This is pure soft power. You do not argue with your opponent's facts. You make them argue within your premise. You don't fight them. You make them compete with your story. The moment Onini agreed to be measured, the game was over. Next, the leopard. Osibo is too fast, too strong, and too cunning for a simple ego trick. He is a predator. His psychology is one of suspicion. So, Anansi doesn't approach him. He finds the leopard's favorite hunting path and digs a deep pit, covering it with branches. Osibo, on his nightly prowl, falls in. He is trapped, enraged, and for the first time, desperate. Anansi appears at the edge of the pit, looking down with manufactured concern. Great, Osibo, he says calmly. What has happened? I have fallen. The leopard snarls. Get me out. Of course, Anansi says. I will help you. Anansi offers to lower his strong web. But, he adds, you are so heavy. Perhaps I should spin a web around your paws to give me a better grip? Osibo, focused only on his immediate problem, the pit, agrees to the solution Anansi's web. Anansi lowers his thread and begins to spin, wrapping the leopard's paws, then his legs, then his body, until Osibo is completely bound. Anansi then leans over the pit. You are CAGH. This is the reciprocity trap, or what we might call a Trojan horse solution. Anansi presents himself as a savior, not an enemy. He leverages strategic empathy. He understands his target's pain point, desperation, so perfectly that the target asks for the very tool of his own capture. Osibo was so blinded by his immediate crisis that he accepted a solution without ever questioning the motives of the solution provider. He saw the web as a rope, not a cage. In the modern world, this is the strategy of disaster capitalism, or the predatory sales pitch. It finds you when you are most vulnerable, presents a helping hand, and by the time you realize the cost, you are already bound. 2 down. Now, the hornets. A swarm. They have no single ego to bait, no individual body to trap. They are a collective, a mob, driven by a single unified mind. Anansi finds their nest. He doesn't attack it. He brings a large, hollowed-out gourd and a banana leaf. He waits. Then he pours water from the leaf over his own head and then onto the hornet's nest, shouting, "It is raining! It is raining! A storm is coming!" He gestures to the dry gourd. "Quickly, my friends! Take shelter in this gourd! It is dry! Save yourselves from the storm!" The hornets, believing they are under attack by an external, impersonal threat, the rain, fly into a panic. They see Anansi not as a threat but as a guide. They flood into the hollow gourd for safety. Anansi quickly plugs the hole. "You are caught. This is the manufacture crisis, and the only solution Gambit." Anansi didn't fight the mob. He united them. He created an imaginary, external enemy, the storm, and then presented himself as the sole provider of safety. He who defines the crisis controls the response. This is the fundamental strategy of political fear-mongering and cynical marketing. If we don't do X, then Y will happen. The Y, the crisis, is designed to make you panic. The X, the solution, is what the strategist wanted you to do. All along, Anansi didn't fight the swarm. He directed it. He has captured the strong Onani, the desperate Osebo, and the mob and Marlboro. He has defeated ego, desperation, and panic. But the final task is a truly impossible one. How do you capture Emoadia, the fairy, the spirit? She is not a physical being. She is invisible, ethereal, and magical. How do you trap a creature that is not a body, but an idea? This final hunt is Anansi's masterpiece. It reveals the true secret of soft power. Emoatia is not a creature of logic. She cannot be debated. She has no physical needs. She cannot be trapped by a pit. She is a creature of emotion, of whimsy, of impulse. To catch her, Anansi must trap impulse itself. He carves a small doll from a block of wood. He covers this doll in sticky gum from a tree. In the doll's lap, he places a small bowl of yams and honey. Then, he places the doll at the base of a tree where the fairies are known to play, and he hides. Soon, Mumoatia the fairy appears. She sees the doll and the delicious-looking yams. "Hello, little doll," she says. "May I have some of your yams?" The gum doll, of course, does not answer. Emoatia, a spirit of impulse, becomes annoyed. "It is rude not to answer," she says. "May I have some yams?" The doll remains silent. Now, Emoatia is angry. Her emotions have been triggered. "How dare you insult me?" she shouts. She slaps the doll's face with her right hand. Her hand sticks fast. She is shocked, then furious. "Let me go," she screams, and hits the doll with her left hand. It, too, sticks. In a full-blown, impulsive rage, she kicks the doll with both feet and finally headbutts it. Now she is completely stuck. She is bound to the doll, trapped not by Anansi's strength, but by her own emotional reaction. Anansi emerges from his hiding place. You are caught. This is the most profound lesson of all. The gum doll is a sticky idea. In modern terms, Anansi created a Mimi. The doll itself is powerless. It is just a vessel. Its power lies in its ability to provoke a predictable reaction from its target. Moatia was not defeated by Anansi. She was defeated by her inability to control her own response to a stimulus. She represents public opinion, culture, the invisible forces that shape our world. You do not capture public opinion with force. You capture it by creating a sticky idea, a meme, a narrative, a symbol that is so provocative, so emotionally resonant that the public engages with it. And in the act of engaging, even in anger, even in disagreement, they become stuck to it. The gum doll is the ultimate trap, a narrative that feeds on the emotional energy of those who interact with it. Anansi returns to the heavens. He presents the bound python, the bound leopard, the sealed hornets, and the fairy stuck to the doll. Nyame and his court are silent. They are in awe. The impossible has been achieved. The sky god, a being of honor, has no choice but to keep his word. He hands the golden box of stories to Anansi. And from that day forward, all stories, all narratives are known as Anansi Sim. The Spider Stories, Anansi 1. He holds the box. He owns all the stories. But this brings us to the final and most important question. What does owning a story actually mean? Owning all the stories does not mean you are the subject of every story. It means you are the source. It means you control the context in which all other stories are told. Let's use a final modern analogy. Nyame, the sky god, was a content creator. He made the stories. He was the product. Anansi became the platform. Google does not write every web page, but it owns the story of information by organizing it. Facebook, Meta, does not create your memories, but it owns the story of connection by hosting them. Amazon does not manufacture every product, but it owns the story of commerce by being the marketplace. This is the ultimate soft power. Anansi's Gambit was not to become the main actor on the stage. It was to own the stage itself. He controls the distribution, the context, and the framework. All other creators now operate within his system. Anansi-san. This is the critical difference between the two tricksters Hindsight Lore has now analyzed. Brer Rabbit, in his myth, used his wits to survive. He was playing a defensive game against a stronger opponent. His goal was to escape the system and live to see another day. Anansi used his wits to thrive. He was playing an offensive game. His goal was to buy the entire system. Brer Rabbit played the game. Anansi bought the casino. The myth of Anansi is a timeless blueprint for power. It argues that hard power, strength, resources, coercion is finite, expensive, and fragile. It creates resistance. It invites disruption. But soft power, the power of narrative, of psychology, of strategy, is infinite. It doesn't break down doors. It convinces you to open them yourself. It doesn't force you to comply. It makes you want to. Anansi teaches us that the world is not run by those with the most physical strength. It is run by those who tell the most compelling stories. It is run by those who understand that true power is not the ability to command, it is the ability to define. So, look around you, in your industry, in your culture, in your own life. Who is Nyame and who is Anansi? Who is relying on their established hard power? And who quietly, patiently, and brilliantly is capturing the python, the leopard, the hornets, and the fairy?